Hey Quentin,
Hey Jan, how are you?
good, thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I just
Been-
think that the angle is weird here.
Yeah, I'm a bit up close right now.
All right.
There we go.
Hi. Some people coming in. Nice.
Yeah. Hey
Hello
guys.
everyone. Um, Quentin, how was your day?
Well, it was quite good. I've been driving around with the new car, just doing nothing else, no work today, but you know,
It's a lot of work to have a new car, actually. You
yeah.
have to get used to everything, right?
Yeah, all right,
And
I
you have
guess
to
so.
you have to check if all your gear fits in.
Yeah, need to try all the new stuff, electronic stuff, not used to that, but it's fun. How about you? How was your day?
Well, today was actually full of appointments, and it was nice. Everything went well. Got a job finished, started a new one, and nothing to complain about. Everybody's healthy, and it's kind of chilly here. I don't know if have we ever talked about where we are? Uh,
Not really.
I mean, ever. It's our second show. So,
Yeah. It's been a long time.
so where
But
are you?
I'm in the French part of Switzerland, so this is why we don't speak German together, I guess.
Yeah,
We
my
could
French
have.
is kind of crap.
Perhaps one day we could try do me
Yeah.
speaking in German, you in French. That would be extremely funny. But yeah, I'm in the French part of Switzerland. For people knowing probably France better, I'm nearby Chamonix,
Mhm.
or in Switzerland, Zermatt, Verbier, Lausanne, in the Alps. And you? Where are
Nice.
you in Germany?
I'm in Düsseldorf, and Düsseldorf is in the very west, actually, in North Rhine-Westphalia, and close to Cologne and the Ruhr area, and that's actually where I'm from, the
Yeah,
Ruhr area. And I moved here in 2006. It's kind of a hotspot for advertising and fashion, and that's why I ended up here
cool.
work-wise. And then I met my wife, and another reason to stay.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, and is there a lot of snow already where you are? Because we're
Uh,
kind of around the 0 degrees right now, but nothing happened
yeah,
yet.
it has started snowing here, which was a bummer when I got the car. I couldn't drive it the first day. I had to put the snow tires on. But yeah, it's been snowing a bit in my city, which is between the mountains. It's not down nearby the lake. We've got about 10 to 15 centimeters, but now it's been raining all day long, so it's gone. But yeah, it's definitely starting to come. Winter is coming.
Yes, absolutely. So Quentin, just for the people that came in, last time in our first episode of Two Caps, One Passion, we talked about getting started in the creative industry, right?
Yeah,
And I think many. Oi, where are you?
I'm here. It cut off for me
We were
too.
just joking. We were just joking that the connection might break. But
And now it does.
are you still there? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still here.
Okay. I think I was about to say that last time we in our first episode of Two Caps One Passion we spoke about the getting started in the creative industry, and I think. Uh, we can easily take it from there and continue on our today's topic, which is you have to put the hours in.
Yeah.
And my first question to you would be, what comes to your mind first when you hear that?
Well, that our jobs as creatives is a lot of work, and not only professional work, but I guess also on a personal level, and that you have to put hours to improve what you do and to get to a certain professional level to get certain clients,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
What would be your answer?
Well, I think it has so many dimensions. So first, oh, by the way, before I answer that, to everybody who's watching, if you are interested in sending us questions that we should consider during this session, please feel free. we're happy to answer questions to that topic, or if there's anything else off topic that is interesting, you can easily share that with you, and we'd be happy to answer that. But getting back to the question, well, I remember my very first mentor, Robin. He used to tell me that sentence, and he threw it into my direction in the very first session that we had. He said, "Jan, you have to put the hours in if you want to become a retoucher." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, but what do you mean exactly?" And he was like, "Yeah, you know, it's not a magic trick or a filter or anything. It's a craft that you have to learn." And then I realized that, okay, he might be right. And I started making my way through everything that I wanted to discover and learn. And so that actually became true in that very moment. And I think it never left, because once you realize that there's a passion for you, and for me it was retouching, it is that it never stops. You always find something that you can improve on, or that you find something new, a new technique, or just a new way to look at an image. And then it's very easy to come to a point where you see that, oh, I really have to put the hours in here to get that to a certain level. And that's what I have in my mind when I hear that. I will never forget that quote.
Yeah, especially for retouching, I think it's, I not that it's not true for photography, but I think many people are photographers who want to do retouching as well. I think there are perhaps more photographers who do retouching than retouchers. And I feel like many photographers who try to improve the retouching are trying to find shortcuts. They want to learn that magical technique that is going to like make an image perfect without having to put time, or without having to learn the thing or practice it. Because like dodging and burning is a great example. You can learn whatever you want. Putting a curve up and down is not so hard, but then being able to manage and do dodging and burning properly, if you don't retouch, I would say even thousands of images, you are never really going to be any good, because it's a skill that you have to practice to get it down, I feel. Absolutely. It's just one example, but yeah.
100%. I think, and when you stop doing it for a certain time, it's not that you forget how it works once you know, but the thing is that you need to practice, and you need to stay and practice. It's like being a professional sports athlete, and if you don't practice your skills, you will get a little stiff. And it's the same with retouching or with photography, possibly. If you are not like doing it on a regular basis and finding your flow, you'll be off for a new training camp, I guess.
Yeah, and creative trends evolve as well. So if you don't practice and keep up with the new trends and new techniques, or a new version of a software or new cameras or whatever, you're going to be left out. And that requires time, that requires to do testing as well. Because that's something that, how could I put it in English? I had a friend when I started photography, we were shooting a lot together. And I remember at some point he said, "Oh, I've done enough testing now. I'm just going to charge everyone who's asking me for job." And I was like, okay, if he's asking for a job, that's normal that you ask for money. But then just being like, "Oh, I've shot enough, I can just stop testing and stop doing free stuff," I was so put off. Like, I think you have to keep testing and shooting, especially given that the creative stuff is just a passion in itself. So if you do it for just the money and not the passion, it's a bit bizarre, I feel like. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't feel it, or if this is not what you're really burning for, I guess you probably view it in a different way. Because for me, whenever I find something new or something that I want to, just get back to it and do it again in retouching, it doesn't feel like it's a real effort. It's more like it's joy. I love it, and it's really. I see it when you show the images on Instagram that I follow frequently, when you do the testings of your product shoots and everything, and everything looks so passionate, and it's so nice to see that you're trying so much new stuff, and that's what I feel when I do retouching myself. It's just it's fun. I'd rather do that than watch any stupid I don't know, whatever sitcom, or not that I don't like it, but I catch myself whenever I have got some free time and my family is busy. I end up here on my desk and try something in Photoshop or in Capture One or do something image-wise, and it must be either crazy or passion.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of personal work or collaboration, like I wouldn't say free, but kind of a service exchange with other photographers?
Yes, I love this balance between commercial jobs and like artistic jobs.
Yeah.
And whenever there's someone that I find that is having a nice style, or I do have a couple of photographers that I work on a very regular basis with on editorials or on experimental stuff. And this is especially in this more regular collaboration. I think it's very nice to have these kind of options to work together and grow together and try stuff, and then be able to really get it when the commercial stuff kicks in.
Yeah, that's so true. I think, I'm not sure I understood it right, perhaps. You speak German better than me. It's ganz ernst, die einen für die Kunst, einen für die Kühlschrank.
That's a good one. He said one for the art and one for the fridge. And
yeah, that's so true. I feel like, I mean,
that's a nice one.
Yeah, when people are asking why do you do commercial, one of the first answer I like to say is just because I can't get the money then to do personal work. Because I mean, yeah, doing commercial work is great. I love working for marketing and advertising, but being able to work for myself and just improve my craft and like putting the hours in just to improve and be better for new personal project and new clients. That's what I like about it. I feel like that's something I kind of lost when I was doing weddings, because weddings to me was just shooting for clients all the time. I didn't really had I think there are ways to shoot for yourself when you shoot weddings, and there are ways to shoot editorials or personal work, but not the same way as I can now with commercial work, which is something I really love about it, because then I can take my personal project and do them for clients, which is also another way to say that putting the hours in and doing personal work is important, because most of the work I do now is people coming to me and asking for personal projects to be done for them. So they're going to come to me and be like, oh, I love those detailed shelves and everything you did for whatever project. Can you do them for us? Well, sure, I know how to do it. You saw the pictures, you know I can do it, and it not only makes my work better, but then it even brings more client in, which is great.
Absolutely, and that's exactly the point. If you do free work, and if you just if you just are visible with it, and if people see that you're passionate on that, it's highly likely that they contact you for commercial work too.
Yeah, which is like actually why I don't really like to say free work, because it's never really free. It's doing something
more like freestyle.
Yeah, I like the word testing or personal project or spec work, just because it's not really free. It's kind of like looking for new opportunities, either to grow or for new clients. And I feel like if you stop doing that, you're just killing your passion altogether.
Yeah. Hey Quentin, now that you know that picking up a new skill takes time and patience and many hours, if you could pick up a new skill in an instant, what would that be?
CGI.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's something I so want to learn, but it takes time. and it I just don't have the time to learn it now. I'm trying
Yeah,
to get
maybe not yet.
into, yeah, I'm trying to get into video because that's something I feel like more clients need it just now. I'm sure client will be asking for CGI or complex stuff that I cannot do in photo or videography, and then CGI may help. And I feel like CGI would help new doors and new
Yeah.
possibilities, not only for clients, but for myself as well. Um, yeah, that's something I would so love to just be able to learn like that. It'd be
Yeah,
so cool.
that's a great answer. I
How,
would possibly work-wise, I would possibly say the same. It's I've been seeing so many people get not so many, but I've seen a couple of people get really good in that over the past couple of, I don't know, 15 years.
yeah,
And I never thought that this would be. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to sit a little like this. I never saw myself there yet,
yeah,
but you never. I never say no. Once it hits me, I would possibly go for it. But I decided to master the craft that I'm in right now, and as I know now that there's never like a finish line,
yeah,
and it's always great to explore something new. I'm very happy to be at this point right now, and took a long time, and but it's definitely something that I am curious about too. And let's see where it leads us. And I have a feeling that it's kind of now that there's so much stuff that is being created as assets already in CGI. At least maybe it's hope, not a feeling. Do you remember when websites were built manually? The
yeah,
time. And
yeah.
nowadays, you don't need that actually. You can build websites with like tools, and that websites build websites. And maybe it can happen that at least a couple of basic things in CGI can be done by dropping things and scenes together. That would be
Yeah.
great, because building rooms and certain elements is very interesting. But I don't know if I want to be creating the next Disney movie with it. I don't
Really?
know.
It'd be the best thing in the world. I did this Disney movie.
Yeah, but you know, you're not doing that movie. You're
No, I know.
animating one hair of a character, maybe. And
Yeah. That's
at least
true.
that's what it feels like. And yeah, they certainly did their part too. So let's check if we have got some questions there. So
Oh, and
here's
just by the way,
yep.
guys, if you ask for questions, you can use the question mark at the bottom next to the comment, so it's easier for us to track the question, so we don't have to browse up and find questions. Sorry, Ian.
No, never mind. So there was one prior to the show, and it said that how do you educate yourself and how do you improve your craft?
Wow. So many things. First are online workshops. I tend to take subscription for a monthly basis on like Creative Live, on Skillshare, or just watch stuff on YouTube. I love watching others doing. I learn a lot by doing that. Uh,
Yes.
the other thing is shooting as much as I can. I think this year I've shot about, I counted the other day, between 50 and 60 personal projects. So that's more than one
50
per
and
week.
60.
Yeah, that's more than one per
All
week.
right.
I've been in quarantine 4 times, so I had time to shoot. Especially given that I shoot mostly product photography nowadays, I can just shoot in my living room, so I don't need any team. So even if I'm stuck inside, I can shoot a lot. So yeah, but I think the most rewarding stuff was shooting a lot of personal work, just experiment new stuff because I shot stuff that I had never shot before. Like the other day, I shot soap bubbles, which a few years ago, if you had told me, oh, you're gonna shoot soap bubbles, I'd be just laughing. I mean, it's so stupid, but at the same time, it's so interesting, the texture, the colors, the lighting, and everything. And then you just learn to light and shoot something that you just wouldn't think of otherwise. And then when you come up on a, for example, beauty shoot, you're like, oh, what if we put bubble soap on the face of the models? That could be fun. So yeah, just shooting it, and creative wise as well, it helps a lot, because the more you shoot, the more, or the easier the ideas come, because that's something I've been struggling for the past 2 years, was just finding inspiration on a consistent basis. For clients, it's usually easy because you've got an art director, which helps. But then when you shoot on your own, it's not so easy. So yeah, shooting a lot definitely is the best tool for me to learn new skills and improve my craft.
Absolutely. And I think you mentioned watching online classes and finding others to inspire you with their shared skills. That's a great point. And is there a platform? You mentioned Creative Life, but are they still there? Is it?
I think so.
Haven't they just been bought by someone?
By Fiverr, I think. Yeah,
but they are still there, right?
Yeah, I've been watching the past classes because I really like the old ones, even though they're a bit dated. Some of them, the content is quite relevant still today, especially the commercial stuff. And then Skillshare is good, but then you've got to pick the classes because not everything is good. It's not made by the platform, it's made by people signing up to the platform. But then on YouTube, you've got great stuff. The business-wise, I like The Future with Chris Do. I'm not sure. I like to listen to business stuff while shooting. It's great exercise as well for my brain to keep like both sides working together. APA has put out great stuff with what's her name? And Andrea Stern. She's rep. They've been putting out great stuff business-wise, and even overall photography stuff. There are so many platforms.
Exactly. There's so much, and that's great in comparison to, I don't know, like 15 years ago, where I became like really serious about retouching. There wasn't that much stuff online that had a quality where you really could learn how the professionals do it. And so then back then it was very helpful to reach out to real people, connect locally, and but that also limits the amount of chances to get someone that's really on a level that you want to be at. And the same goes for their time, of course. And me personally, I made the experience that it's nice to have like one-on-ones or one-to-manys live at a location, but then it was, especially when it was a 2-day workshop or stuff like that, it was nice to get in touch and ask for one certain technique or just see the flow of the person. But to really dive into it, I preferred it more to have a recording and be able to learn at my own pace. And I think, I don't know, at some point there was, at least I had the impression that people were like, oh, you learn online, that can't be good. And, and only crap out there and people are selling stuff. But no, I don't think so. There's so much good stuff out there, and you can learn so much by people that are sharing their skills and that are really on a high level, and that are willing to share their skills and take you under their wings. And but just because there's the internet and you have an option to follow them and they don't have to do it over and over and over again. They can put out their stuff once, sell it for a decent price, because good quality should be priced well, and you can very much learn from them, and that's great, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely.
That's so true.
And
Do you spend a lot of time per week learning new stuff compared to the work stuff you do?
I try to find inspiration everywhere, actually. I love it to have exchange with my peers, with photographers, with other retouchers, and also beyond, other creatives. It sort of has a nice, as I mentioned earlier, a nice amount of creatives working in all sorts of agencies, and luckily there's not that much of a competition thinking. Luckily, I think, I think it's this: if you are open, people are open, you know, and you can exchange on so many topics and find inspiration there. And I found so much great sources for inspiration just by talking about, hey, I saw this and I really like that series of images, and then the other one says, hey, I saw that website, have you check it out? And it's so easy to find inspiration. And once I see something that I like and that I possibly haven't done before, I really like to dive into this and try. I like the playing part of that, because finding new grades, color grades, or new styles, and trying to analyze them, not particular put them on images that I can work on, but just trying to understand how one got to that point of a look. That's interesting for me. I like to take it apart and to deconstruct it in a way, and to have that into my skill set somewhere, and that I can apply it when I feel that I need to. And by doing so, and by opening up for many different kind of looks, I think it's great to widen your scope of creative what's the word, of possibilities. And that I need to emphasize, I think, is very, very powerful, because if you only do one style, especially in retouching, it can be your trademark, but it also limits you to maybe it limits you the way that you miss on opportunities to expand your scope.
Yeah, and at some point you're just going to be dated, and people are going to move on to something new. And if you don't learn and find out how other people are doing stuff, and then try to combine it with your current work and just create your style, that's something you're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, improving, I think if we close that question, improving the craft is a never stopping process. We've been there earlier today, and yeah, it's great. But I think there's another question that I found. How do you balance personal and work life if you put so much hours in?
I was just about to ask the same question.
Yeah.
It's honestly, to me, I'm terrible to answer that question because I've got no balance. It's when I do something, I'm like 200% in it. My family knows it. My girlfriend, she knows it as well, and she's kind of the same. So it's never been like a huge issue for me and people around me to know that I don't really have any balance. It's either I'm with the people I'm with, or I'm 100% in my work. And sometimes I'll just work straight for 18 hours and I just don't care about anything around me. So I'm not so great at being balanced, I guess.
18 hours. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm when I do something, I used to be in IT beforehand. I was just doing like coding stuff, and I was just like plugged in, you know.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you look
yeah.
at if people that don't know what it is, it's like if you look at Social Network, the movie about Facebook, people coding or just putting earphones on the head, and then
Yes,
you're just
yeah,
in the zone, and you even forget to eat. Like someday I will just shoot for a whole day long, and then at the
yes.
end of the day, I'm just angry by myself, and I'm like, oh wow, you just didn't get any food at any point during the
Well,
day.
I can relate to that, but there is a time and when I need to eat, and I do that, and
Yeah,
I'm happy that you know, I tend to work in different locations, either in my studio or at home,
yeah.
and or on set, or I love having, like, you know, those days where I spend the time at another creative place, and um, by doing so, there's some kind of a routine that reminds me of that, and that's great. And but the other thing that balances me is actually having a family, right? That my wife and my son. My son is like 6 years old now, and um, I definitely want to spend some time with both of them. And that is that, so I can start working in the morning when I got Vincent to school, and when I come back, I'm on my projects, and then later the day, when he comes home from school in the afternoon, there's some time for him, and of course also for my wife. And then, but after he went to bed, like now, like we're talking now, that I just got him to bed earlier. Um, that's the time when I can really expand on improving my skills, on trying new things, and or working on projects. And that's great, you know.
Yeah,
That's we all, like my wife and me, we've got like this understanding, therefore. And well, she knows that I'm passionate about that, and I have always been. And it's great to have this block of time where I know that I can, when I want, I can work all night long. I just
yeah.
have to make sure that I wake up the next morning when I have to get Vincent to school.
It's always better to wake up at some point.
Let's say in time. And yeah, so that's. But then again, uh, as you said too, it doesn't feel like it's super exhausting. It's the different way. It's fueling me, and
Yeah,
of course I need to have a break every once in a while, especially for the eyes too. But um, it's just great to do that, and therefore I make sure that I get my workouts done. I make sure that I have some proper food, and I don't need much more than that. Maybe some sun when it's sunny. That's nice too. But, I think we are not talking about that in winter time now.
yeah, no, not so much. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to have like a job that's your passion and being able to manage to keep everything balanced at the same time because you just want to do more. And like you say, if
Yeah,
I guess if you have a family, which, well, I don't have kids, my family is my parents, my sister, and then some friends and my girlfriend, but it's not the same as having kids like you that you want to see grow and be with them. But I guess like having people close to you and being able, it's not really, well, what I was about to say? It's not really about balance, but I think it's the more important is being able to be present with people when you are
right.
with them, because that's something I've not been good at the past few years, and I'm trying to improve and change. Is when I was with people, I just tended to be stuck in my own issue about work and about what I'm going to do tomorrow and how could I change that and how can I find new inspiration and just not
Yeah,
enjoying the moment with people. Whereas I think if you even just spend 1 hour with others on one day per week, that's perhaps not much. But if you spend that 1 hour 100% with the people that you are with, it's the best thing you can do for them and for you as well. So yeah, that's
yeah. And then if you do that, if you are present, it automatically, I think, levels you in your perception of like stress, or in your like things that you want to do for work. But I had this experience especially when it got serious with becoming a pro in retouching, and the first 2 to 3 years, I think, around 2 to 3 years, I always feared that if I don't work the whole day, I'm not really, self-employed, and I'm not really taking the responsibility that it needs to be a professional. But that's not true. As you said, you can work for a couple of hours and then have a break, or you can leave it out for 2 days. But if you're present in the things that you do, is it meeting your family, meeting your clients, I don't know, doing whatever feels right for you. Once you are self-employed, and if you are on your own or you're leading a company, or it is all about being in balance, and it's about being inspiration for yourself and letting go of this pressure that you put on yourself, right? And I was really good in putting pressure on myself, and it ended up that I got sick, and it just didn't do any good. There was no purpose for that. It was way much better than to let go of these thoughts and be in that moment, either in the project or in the private world, or with my friends, or taking a break for a concert or whatever, or cooking a meal and just cooking that meal and not scrolling emails at the same time. But it's weird what you catch yourself doing when you're just having this urge to move on. But exactly those breaks were very valuable for me to get where I am.
Yeah.
And
speaking of that, how do you stay organized? Because I mean, being self-employed, I guess you're just like me, having like thousands of things to think about every day, and having like personal work, having jobs, new clients to find. What's the key for you to stay organized?
Well, I have my little black book, where I write stuff and where I put the things that I don't want to forget. And it's not really a to-do list, but it's a thing that I keep where I want to have the things that I really need and want to do. And I try to cut the day into a few chapters, and it begins with breakfast with my family every day, and then there is like a workout, and I want to get that done to have the start of my day in my own terms, and when I did that, or when I established that into my day, I found out that this really calms me down to be concentrated on the first tasks. And I always put the hardest tasks in the beginning. So if it's something that I need to get done, important calls, or maybe a couple of mails, then it's that. Or when it's a project, then I work on that project, and I set some slots in my calendar for the other tasks. And it's just like an appointment. If I need to, do some organizations, I don't know, whatever, the tax consultant, or some bookkeeping, or some clients, and or some meetings or discussions, I try to bundle those and not have it like spread over the whole day. And when I know that I have like an hour for conversation, I do have an hour for conversation. It can extend a little, but I don't want it to be like 15 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes 1 hour later, and then half an hour a couple of hours later, because that always takes me out of the zone,
Yeah.
And by creating these like little islands for myself, that works very well. How do you do that? Do you do
Uh,
that?
not really the same way. I guess my life has been a bit different over the past few months due to the quarantine. Living in a small village, not having a car
Yeah.
was a bit of a, not a struggle, but it was a bit different because I couldn't go to the gym I used to go. Without a car, it wasn't possible. So yeah, usually I like to go to the gym early in the morning, just like you. And then to keep on track with everything, I use a to-do list on my computer. I use Todoist. I'm slowly moving to Notion because I feel like Notion is great, especially for YouTube. I've moved on to Notion. That's so great.
Okay.
Um,
What is that? Notion?
Notion, yeah,
Okay, I'll write that down.
like learning a new Notion. Um, yeah, I kind of like it. It's a bit like Evernote, but with to-do list stuff in it. It's a bit of a concept, I think. I don't know how to describe, but it works well. If you try it,
Yeah, I'm gonna check it
you're
out.
gonna
Okay.
get it quite quickly, I guess. And so yeah, I like to use to-do list and just write down in the evening what I'm gonna do the following day. And just like you say, start with the thing I don't want to do or the hardest stuff, just so it's out of the way and I can end the day retouching, watching Netflix, and that's great.
Okay.
I know it's not professional retouching.
Have you ever you know what I've had that really funny experience when I work on images or on a job, and
Yeah,
I listen to audiobooks or podcasts at the same time,
yeah,
which is very convenient for me because I love having something that my brain can process during retouching when
yeah.
it's not thinking about a certain image. And whenever I come back to those images, like weeks later, whenever I see a certain area, uh, I know what I listened to at that moment. That's really strange. Do you have that too?
No, no. But I could say I've tried retouching while listening to podcasts, watching Netflix, and listening to music. I can
At
say
the
for
same
sure.
time?
No,
All of
different
those?
time. No, no, no. I'm crazy, but not to the point of listening to three different things. But I noted that music was the way for me to retouch the fastest. So if I
Yeah.
do retouching for a client and I need it to be done quickly, I'll listen to music. But if
Speed
it's
metal?
hmm? Speed
Speed
metal,
metal then? Or
yeah,
speed
sometimes
metal?
speed,
It's
yeah.
if you want to
Uh,
retouch fast or like really high beats what is that? Beats per minute? Yeah.
yeah, I tend to listen to electro music or stuff that just has some pump to it, and that's like it elevates your heart rate, it focuses, you get in the zone, or even classical music with some stuff like
Do
God.
you have playlists? You know,
Yeah, I do have
yeah,
some, but I've not shared them. We could.
I created some retouching playlists and they're on Spotify if you want
Yeah,
to check it out or someone wants to check them out.
I'll do.
It's and I'm always up for suggestions, you know, and it's really great to have some music. I have the same experience. Music is great.
Yeah.
Watching Netflix at the same time,
It's usually more of a listening to Netflix rather than watching it.
yeah, but
It's like,
sometimes I need to turn my head, you know. I'm
yeah,
gonna
but
be
it
honest.
gives you the breaks that you need during your touching, you know? It's like, oh, well, that scene seems interesting. And then you stop retouching and then you come back to it and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't see that. So let's retouch it.
Yeah, that's
But,
true. All right, fair
but
point.
like I
Makes me
said,
more comfortable watching Netflix at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for client work though. It's usually more music for client work because I get the thing done faster. But if it's personal work and I just do it in the evening, it's like I don't want to just watch Netflix. I don't want to just retouch. So let's do the same together, and that's great.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Have you had these sessions with other creatives at the same time? So like a Google Hangout or something, and everybody does what he does, or he or she does, and you just hang out and you retouch at the same time. I did that a couple of times. That was fun. And then just talking every once in a while, like, hey, you're still there. Okay. What are you doing? Well, I'm still retouching. Okay. Well, I had some lunch and stuff like that. It's fun.
No, I've tried to go live on YouTube or Twitch while retouching. I just feel it's a bit more difficult to concentrate on the work while having someone looking at what you're doing and having to keep up with the chat and trying to engage in conversation. Because as much as I can listen to music, I've got troubles just talking while doing something, even if it's retouching.
It's different.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I found out I like it. It's
Yeah.
I can do that, but you are not as fast. But obviously, because you are talking about what you do, right?
Yeah.
And that you are. I like explaining what I do when I do the live sessions, because then I know that I really understand what I do. If I can explain it and do it at the same time, it's a good sign.
It could be something we could try, do a retouching live talking together. Who knows?
Yeah, we can try that. And we will see what comes out, how this format develops here. We can certainly move it to other channels too.
Yeah.
And do we have got some more questions, by the way?
Let's look. How important is personal work to you? We talked about it.
Let's see. How do you stay on top of things when it gets very busy? Well, that's the same thing with like balancing personal and work life, kind of, right?
Yeah, and staying organized. I feel it's a mix between the two. Like, even if you have a lot of things, you just have to still keep time for yourself, I think.
I had this kind of today, you know, that there were a couple of calls that were not planned, and that were like welcome, and I needed to manage get these calls and the jobs done, and that is something that only prioritization helps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And what else? Is there something more?
Oh, that's a good one. It's not really related to, well, yeah, it could be related to the topic. What does success mean to you?
Success. Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Success is when, let me find a good way to put it. Success is when I am free to do what I want, where, and independent from time and place, if I can say so. If I have got the freedom to choose when I want to do things. So if I'm the master of my own schedule, I don't really like to be told that you have to work from 9 to 5. You have to get this and that done. And freedom for me is that if I can create my day and being able to get all the things done, and it can be a lot, that's not a problem. But I do want to be the master of my time. This is freedom for me, and success too, when I have the situation that I can actually do that. Success is not always, I think, it doesn't come with money. Success is if I reach my goals, and if I can develop the way I want, if I can improve my craft, and if I can live my passion. And if it pays the bills, that's great. And I'm 100% positive that when I can do what I love, where I'm passionate about as my job, and if I can, show that to people, success will follow. Success is always something, in German it's called Erfolg, and
Mhm.
that means it follows if it can be translated to
Yeah.
English like that, and it follows after you do something, maybe the way you want or however you want to interpret that. But I think that's it. If you do and do without expectation, it will come.
Good.
What do you say?
That's good. Uh, it's a tough one. Hmm. Success, I guess, would be kind of like you said, being able to do whatever I want, but more in the sense of being able to do the personal project I want. Um, and I would say being able to refuse clients even if they are good money and a good job. But if I don't feel like it, if I don't want it, just being able to say no for whatever reason would
Yeah,
be would be a good to me would be a good way to show success or at least feel like I've succeeded. Because I don't think the way people see success or how you've achieved success is the way you feel you've achieved success. Because some people are, I've had so many people telling me, oh, you've got so much success over the past few years, how everything you've achieved and so on. And I'm like, I just don't feel like I'm where I want to be just yet.
yeah,
But people
yeah,
have a
and
different vision.
yeah. And so many people see success in having a certain income or having, I don't know, the newest car, clothes, watch, whatever,
Yeah,
and the big vacation, and I don't know. And this is for me. This is only like the proof from the outside, and I don't need that to be happy. I'm happy, or I always have the wish to be happy from inside. And if I'm happy from the inside, I don't need that
yeah,
approval from the outside. And I never felt like I need. Of course, I do have things that I like and that I want to have, but I wouldn't want to make my worth to define my worth by having something like that. I'm not a better person if I have this, and that is something that you need to learn. And life teaches you what's important. And for me at least, it was. And being healthy, being in a great relationship, having great people around, and it doesn't have to be much. That's something that is success for me.
yeah,
Being able to wake up every day healthy and know that I can do the job that I love, that's great. I don't need anything else like that. And but what you said is great to have this being able to say no is great because I heard that one sentence once, which is really made me think. A yes to someone is often a no to yourself. And being able to say no to requests or whatever is nothing that you have to feel bad about, right?
yeah. Yeah, especially being creative, I feel like we've been taught since being young, extremely young, like children, that you work is work, and being creative is often not considered as work, as a job. And I feel like many creatives then don't feel like they have the right to ask for money or to say no to clients because just they are living of a passion that's good enough, which I mean, it shouldn't. You should be able to, and you should be able to say no, and you should be able to ask for money for your work. And it's something I feel like with social media, it's slowly
Yeah.
changing. But yeah,
Yeah, it's too much. I have this, I have that. And I love the quote of Gary Vaynerchuk who emphasized it like a million times. So it's one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. And he always said that people are willing to buy stuff with the money they don't have to impress people that they don't even like. And there's a lot of truth in that, if you're honest. And of course, everybody has the tendency to want something and to show off something, maybe. But it's just a short, let's say, gratification. Is that the right word? It's just a short kick, but then you need the next one. And that doesn't lead to happiness or to freedom of mind. And I can really relate to that. And I tried to, and it wasn't that hard to let go of those things that I don't really need, you know. But it's great to have the latest gear and to have the fanciest equipment. But for a creative, you shouldn't be limited to your gear to create great results. And being a creative, now that you mentioned that that people watch creatives and say then, hey, you do what you love the whole time. But being creative on demand isn't that easy. And you have to be, as a professional, you have to deliver your best, even if you don't feel like it. And that's what no, I'm lacking a word here. That's what is the difference between a professional and an amateur.
Yeah, you've got to perform whatever the case, whatever the situation, whatever the client, the budget, whatever. If you say yes and you take on a job, you've got to be able to deliver.
Yeah, and even if it's a job that is not paid.
Yeah.
There's no difference between a paid job and a free job. And once you commit to a job, you have to perform. And that's one thing. And I had the situation too where I had to, you know, I had a free job, and there came a big job right after that one, and there was no way that I could stop the unpaid job, and therefore I decided that okay, it's going to be all night then, and I'm going to enjoy it, and it's going to be fun because it's a privilege to have both of these jobs. So why not? And that's the other thing, right? If you're not passionate for that, or if you're not built for that, it's possibly not for you. Or you have to have a clear no to the paid job then, even if it's hard.
That's true. Good. Right. We are about the 1 hour mark.
Oh my God. Time flies, right?
Yeah. Oh, always the balance between the expectations and creativities. If the customer wants you, this is because they know your work. No, yep, that's true.
Yeah, if a customer knows you, and that's I think that's one of the greatest compliments. If you're known for a certain style or for a certain quality, and people come back, that's great. And but you always measured with the last project. You can have like 10 great projects and you screw up the 11th one, or it's not as good as the ones before. Bad.
Which is why you should always just show shit pictures, because then people expect shit. If you do good, they are so happy.
You can do that when you are established, possibly.
What you can take from today, just do shit work and everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and it's good to not be so serious, right? Especially in the creative world, there's no room for too much serious play.
No, you gotta learn to laugh and just enjoy.
Yeah, and it's, you know, in creative work, there's so much like subjective point of views, as long as you're going with the brief, or if you're going like in a technically right direction. There's the other thing is personal preference, and you have to deliver in a certain amount of quality. But the other thing, and that's one thing actually that I would like to point out, if you think, especially in a creative project, that this is like technically well, and you deliver a certain style, you shouldn't take it personal when the client doesn't like it, as long as you can say that, hey, this is the quality that it needs. But if you don't like the colors or the whatever the appearance of the look, you can certainly change that. And even if you loved it, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just not the preference of the client, maybe.
Yeah, being able to detach yourself from your work is extremely important when working as a professional. I think when you work on your personal work, that's fine to be personally attached.
Absolutely.
Except if you use it for promotional purposes, because then you've got to learn to take on critics, which is, I mean, not always so easy, but yeah.
No. But yeah, that's a great point. Being able to deal with critiques is, once you think about it, it mostly is not personal critique. It's the subject. No, so otherwise the people possibly wouldn't work with you. And if it's the first time that people work with you, it's great to ask a lot of questions in advance and see what the people want, and then deliver to that expectation. And but if they don't like it, what can happen? You just need to ask the right question and not take it personally, because if you do, you will be trapped in that loop, because you get unsecure. And I found out, especially in the beginning of my career, that I always asked that, hey, what don't you like about that? And it's most of the times it has nothing to do with the quality of the work. It's just that certain styles don't work, or that they change their mind actually after they exactly brief this kind of look.
Yep.
Right? But that can happen too, and that's always not personal too. And there's so much more, right, that you possibly can't think about. And so stop assumptions and ask, and then it's going to be a better experience for yourself, and you're going to be way more calm with critiques, I guess. That's my experience.
Question: does AI encourage people not to put the work in? For example, objection selection. It does a great job, they always say, versus the pen tool.
Great question, George. Hi, by the way. Well, I have tried many shortcuts during my career, and it always came back to, if you choose to have the most amount of control over your work, you have to do it manually. And then you are not dependent on AI or on automated selections or on automated channels or masks. If you really want to have control, you need to learn the tools, and you need to apply it, and you need to put the hours in. Now that we're back at the topic of our session today, you need to master the tools, and once you have mastered them, you have the control that it needs to have complete control over your image. And it's always, and that's what I always tell my clients, you can have, when there's someone coming that, hey, can we do it for a really small budget or something like that? Well, there's two options. We can do a very rough and fast retouch, sure. But if you want to have a great result, this is how I do it. I choose a workflow that is complete control over the image, and that is including creating great masks of the important elements of the image. And therefore, I want to have control, and I don't want to have it automated. If it works for a certain area of the image, that's fine, and I love to use it. But if it's for client work, there's no way around, at least for me, to create precise maskings and create have the power to balance out every single element in the image. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it comes back to, I think, I'm not sure if you said it or I said it, but like when you get started, you just want to find shortcut because you think there is some magical way to get stuff done. And I feel like that's the case for many photographers getting into retouching, trying to find the magical stuff, how to do touching and burning within minutes instead of putting in hours, which, I mean, there is no magical stuff except putting the hours in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, AI, I think, it can mislead people in the beginning. And I think there is a lot of wrong and poor marketing out there about AI. A lot of software are using or talking about AI, which oftentimes it's not even AI, it's just automated stuff poorly done with poor results, and then it doesn't really work out. So yeah, people probably they fall into it and they are going to work with AI for a while until they realize it doesn't do to work well, and then they are going to go back to more traditional stuff and getting stuff done how everyone does it in the industry. And
Yes.
I think it's like, how could I compare it? It's like many stuff. If you don't know how to do basics, you cannot take a shortcut. But if you know how to do the basics, then you can take the shortcuts and have perhaps 80% of the result done and do the 20% that does the difference yourself, like touching and burning. There are a few plugins that do touching and burning for you, and then it's not perfect, but it can help a lot. And then if you have short time frame to deliver content, I feel like it can help. Perhaps not for the high-end stuff, but for like small stuff on Instagram where people doesn't really like the quality, they just want something out there. I mean, if you use AI to help and then do like the 20 remaining percent yourself, that's great. But I feel like you've got to learn the basics anyways.
Yeah, and that's again, that's a great point. And again, that's the difference between an amateur and a professional. If you're a professional in retouching or in photography, you know what you do, and you know how to take an image apart, or how to divide it into color, luminosity, and tones. And if you do that, and you have a way to have control over each of these elements, you can then create whatever you want, and you can bring the real the goal of the communication to life, right? And if you know how to, for instance, use like how to create a really good selection on a subject in an image, you then, if you isolate everything the way that it's flawless, you can then be very creative, and you don't have to pay attention to any kind of mask mistakes. That's just a common one in Photoshop, right? And it lowers the quality of your image so much if you have these kind of issues in it, that the quality of the creative work will not be seen, because there's obvious mistakes in it. And you can avoid that by learning the basic techniques and master selections and master colors, and also understand how colors work. And if you do so, you can then play with it and break the rules and be super creative and use that as kind of style. But if you are just, being dependent on AI, you will probably lose.
Yeah, and AI is just another tool. I mean, like you're talking about color. I see so many people thinking, oh, I've got the last LUT pack from whatever place on the web. I'm gonna get great colors on my pictures, on my footage. And yeah, nah. If you don't know how to color grade, you can put whatever filter you want on the picture. It's not gonna work. If you don't get why it's working on the base image they used to show it on, then it's
Yeah.
not gonna work on your shoot either. So
Yeah, if you understand how hue, luminosity, and color work, and you understand how to, adjust that in your image, you can match it to a certain style, and you can bring images closer together in one family. And that's what you have as an ultimate goal. You want to have things consistent. And if you're dependent on a certain filter and you use it on your image, it might look great on the one image that you tried it on. But if you want to put that on your new client work and it doesn't look well and you don't know how to tweak it,
you just buy another LUT pack.
you buy the next one, right? And you try.
And when you've got 10,000 LUTs to try on every single picture as well, that's when you're professional.
Right. Now we nailed it. That's great.
And then you use AI.
And especially for communication.
Yeah.
And that's, oh, by the way, that's another great thing where you need to put the hours in. It's not only the craft, right? And to master your craft, you have to be able to communicate well.
Yeah.
And you have to communicate your worth. You have to communicate well with your client about the project. And if you're able to do that, you will probably have better projects. It works better if you're good in communication. You can be the best photographer and retoucher in the world. If you don't know how to communicate, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, so true. You can be the best photographer in the world. Without marketing, you don't get any jobs.
Yeah, most likely.
I know so many photographers who put out such poor quality images, and then you're like, how do they get such jobs? They just know how to talk their way into it.
But it only takes you so far, you know?
Yeah, it's true. At the same time, it's true. If you don't have the quality, you're not going to get the best jobs, and you're not going to be able to do the jobs that you want to do. But then if you just want to be busy and if success is just money, then yeah, you can get your way around with poor quality work. But
yeah, you have to put a lot of effort in finding new clients all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it just shows that without marketing, you're not much. Because I mean, if you don't have a website and you don't show your work outside your home, no one is going to come knocking at your door and like, hello.
That's true. So we conclude with you have to put the hours in either in your craft and passion, but also into communication. And if you master both, the path is solid to have a good foundation for a good career.
That's perfect.
Even at that time of the day.
Yeah, write down and make it a shirt.
We're going to come up with that shirt line soon, right?
Yeah. Copyright.
Hey, Quentin.
That was great.
Dips on that for you. Well, I think we passed the hour by a lot, and we don't want to keep the people up too long. People need to work tomorrow, possibly.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back in 14 days, around 14 days, possibly.
Yeah, about 2 weeks, yeah.
And we're going to bring up a new topic, and we keep you posted on our Instagram channels, and you can watch the recording if you like. And if you have got any suggestions on topics that those two caps shall talk about, please just send us a message or a voice or anything that you like, or a letter if you find our addresses. That's also nice. Have a postcard.
No need to find our addresses. I don't want stalkers knocking at my door. Whatever. I'll send them your way.
No, no. I think we are having a lockdown soon.
No bad vibes here.
No, sure. No,
No,
no. Anyhow, send us your questions. Send us your feedback. We love to hear what you think about this discussion round, and feel free to engage and talk your way into our show. Don't be shy. It's great to have your questions, and I'm really looking forward to the next one.
yeah, me too.
And wishing you a great night. Thank you so much,
You
Quentin,
too.
for your time, and
Thanks
thank you
you.
thanks to the people here. Take care and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.